around 7:15 in the morning, I had, with my first cup of plain coffee, what was left of the bag of shrimp chips at my dad's place. I recall that anywhere from a quarter to a third of the bag was left at that time. Though I recall first getting that cup of plain coffee around 6:15 in the morning. Though I only recall having a sip or two of that cup between me first getting that cup and when I had the shrimp chips. Around 7:15 in the morning. Around 12:15 p.m. in between editing the May 23 my dinner video in Camtasia 2019, which I recall doing from the mid-morning hours to the early afternoon hours. I had some leftovers from when my dad went to Salvatore's yesterday. Part of a calzone. Two chicken wings with Cajun dry rub. And This my dad actually got from the Salty Bread Pizza Cafe. I also had some specialty pizza. I recall it was supposed to be some kind of chicken barbecue. After the May 23 My Dinner video finished uploading to my YouTube channel, around 3:15 p.m., roughly from 4:30 to 5 p.m., I exercised following along the usual beginner 30-minute HIIT workout. I always follow along. When I decide to work out, which historically these days I do either once or twice a week on average. After the first set, I started sipping at a plastic glass full of tap water. In between some of the 30-second breaks between exercises in a set and 1-minute breaks between sets. And for the third set, I took a little sip of tap water during all of the breaks. Afterwards, I recall cooling off at one of the spare rooms at my dad's place, which currently resembles more of a living room than a spare room necessarily. And there's plenty of comic books inside. I was in that spare room roughly from 5 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. I recall falling asleep today afterwards around 6:15 p.m. and sleeping for several hours. I recall briefly waking up around 9:45 p.m. before falling back asleep within a few minutes. And then I woke up about 2 hours later. I first woke up to a 1 in the morning alarm I set on my laptop. Using a third-party website. And this store-bought penne pasta salad that I'm having currently store-bought from Wegmans. I had some with what I had around 12:15 p.m. I recall technically from 6:15 in the morning to about 9 in the morning having 2 full cups of plain coffee and a partial third cup that was about a third of a cup. Though I only really started having coffee today at 7:15 in the morning. I recall right before I fell asleep today, pushing through some nodding off, but not too much for me to complete several 5-minute Spanish practice lessons on Duolingo. the mobile app in order to get another perfect lesson. It took that many attempts, that many completed lessons, practice sessions, to get the third and final perfect lesson. I only needed one more at the time, but I kept making at least one silly mistake during the practice lessons, because this was right before I fell asleep today. But I eventually managed it. Completing the last daily quest I needed to complete the May challenge on Duolingo. And then shortly afterward, was when I fell asleep today. Here's where I am currently on the Moogle polystyrene drawing project. I recall briefly working on just this area during the mid-morning hours as I was editing the May 23 My Dinner video in Camtasia 2019. I used these Sharpie markers today. This is what I'm doing currently on Oceania to complete this main task set. Here's where I am currently in terms of clearing out the ancient city.